I had no clue what the current joke was, but a week didn't go by where I didn't become the subject of some kind of meme among my classmates. It was easier and safer for me to just ignore them. Any one of them could kill me in an instant, after all.
This is our table. You need to move.
Drake, there's dozens of other tables. Why do you need this one? Come on, man. I don't want to do this today. I just want to eat.
Quinn, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not touching you.
Drake, I know this is you.
Quinn, I know you're a pathetic loser, but that's no reason to hit yourself.
So clever, Drake.
Ooh, that one sounded painful.
Come on, man. Can we stop this, please?
You stop. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Drake, I know you're telekinetic. Everyone knows this.
What's your tone with me? Dud! You're a powerless dud. That means you're worthless. Scratch that. You're worse than worthless. You're eating my food, breathing my air, and every time you do, you're stealing it from someone more useful. Some powers. Someone like me.
I've heard this same crappy speech every day for 16 years. In this superpowered world, nothing is worse than being powerless.
Are you gonna run along like an obedient little child, or am I gonna have to educate you on your place in this world?
One day I'm gonna push back.
Hey, Quinn!
Kinda reminds you of the Dalki that killed your mom, huh?
My parents died in a war with alien invaders. They gave me an ability book that should give me superpowers, but I haven't been able to open it. Powers or not, I'm gonna kill him.
Hey, Quinn! What happened to your clothes?
Quinn, no packs for you.
I wish I had the ability to turn invisible.
That's for asking me out, punk.
I didn't!
The last guy I dated was a level 3. You think I'd stoop to dating a level 1 loser?
I just need your number to organize a study group.
Unbelievable.
I live in a world where everyone has superpowers. Except me.
I only got my ability book last summer and I can already do this. Cool, right?
Great job, Greg. Have a seat. Quinn, Talon, let's see your ability.
Why do I have to go next? They all know I don't have an ability. Ow!
I'll handle this.
It's okay. It's just best to ignore it.
You sure?
I mean, I'd rather spend time with you anyway. But I do have to go. See you later?
Quinn? So, the prom is coming up and...
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I'd love to go to the prom with you.
Great. Pick me up at 8?
This is the happiest day of my life.
So is it done?
Yeah. He doesn't suspect it.
Lindsay?
Quinn!
The guy who bullies me?
Quinn! What did you expect?
What's the matter, loser?
I'm gonna kill you.
Oh, I'm Quinn Talon, and everybody hates me because I don't have powers. I mean...
Stay in your homes. Lock your doors and close your windows. Another war is imminent. Shelter in place.
I lost everything tonight. Just like I did when the aliens first invaded.
Come to Mama, Quinn. Come here, I have something to give you. Come on. Come here. This is just blood, okay? There's nothing to be scared of. You have to find a way to open this. The power of this book. You set the world aflame. You have to keep it from falling into the wrong hands. Please, Quinn, take it. Mama?
I'm tired of losing, of being weak. I've been a failure my whole life. Not anymore. I've been trying to open this book for years. There's only one thing I haven't tried.
This is just blood, okay? There's nothing to be scared of.
I'm gonna be powerful enough to end my bullies, or die trying.
New user detected. Initiating data upload. Upload complete.
What happened last night? Wait, no way. How did I heal? I can see the whole room without my glasses. Is that? Startled? What the hell? Relax, man. I'm you. What you will be. Potential. So, the book. It worked? Take a look. Congratulations. You've unlocked Vampire System. Vampire System. Try to scroll through it. It's controlled by my thoughts?
Error. Error. Error.
It's like one of those old gaming systems. I thought I'd have powers. In time, my friend. What do you mean, in time? I bled to open this book.
Error. Error. Error.
Quinn Talon,
Yes?
pack your things and go outside.
What?
Don't play dumb with me. It's draft day, boy. It's time for you to go to military school.
Crap. That's right. The war with the Dalki wiped out most of the population. They say another war is imminent. Now, every student aged 16 gets shipped off to military school for 2 years. It's so bright. What's happening to me?
Are you okay, son? You're not trying to run away, are you? Talon! Talon, you hear me?
Your stats are being halved during exposure. Please seek immediate shelter from direct sunlight.
I'm weaker in sunlight now? What kind of drawback is this? I'm working on it.
You are no longer in direct sunlight. Stats have returned to normal.
What a relief. That was torture.
Move it, recruit.
Where's the shuttle?
ETA 11 minutes. Stay seated.
Keyword. Direct sunlight. A quest? Is this how I level up?
I wonder what the military academy will be like.
Me too. I hope it's.
Quiet!
Whatever it's like, it's probably better than school. What? What's going on?
Warning. A foreign substance has been detected. Activating oxygen reserves. Your resistance to the substance has increased. Approximately 30 seconds of consciousness remaining.
I've got to get out of here. What the hell?
Rise and shine, maggots. Welcome to the academy. You'll spend the next 2 years of your miserable lives here, so you better get used to it.
I knew the military was sitting on some experimental tech, but I had no idea they were hiding some Star Trek level stuff. Ow.
Placed on your wrist is a lifeline. It identifies you as a student here at the academy and entitles you access to certain areas, daily rations.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Huh?
The more you tug, the more they tighten up. Ever, see someone on the streets without their hand? That's the cost of running.
Thanks.
Once you've been tested, it will display a number representing your corresponding power level. Power levels range from 1 to 8.
I think I can get at least a 5.
What?
I heard no one has gotten higher than 5 on the first test. Well, except originals. You know, people who don't need ability books to get their powers. They're just born that way.
I know what originals are, okay?
Okay, hotshot. I'm just making conversation.
Oh, sorry.
So, name, ability, favorite color.
Final testing group. Quinn Talon.
Hey.
Peter Chuck.
I mean, hey, cut it out, man. Cut it out.
Gordon Blade.
Rough hands, bro. Ever try lotion?
Layla Monroe. And Aaron Healy.
Finally.
You 5 will be today's final testing group. Good luck.
So, Quinn, right? Name's Warden.
What's his angle? No one this cool has ever been this nice to me in school.
Use of foreign ability detected. Ability attempt blocked.
Ability blocked?
Wait, what was your ability again?
What's happening? Where are they sending me? What was Warden trying to do before? How can I test my ability when I don't even know what my ability is?
Warning. You are being hit by direct sunlight. All stats will be reduced by 50%.
First time teleporting?
Second ability attempt blocked.
What the hell is he trying to do? Hey, don't touch me, man.
Hey, man, relax. I'm pretty strong. If anybody mess with you, I'll put them in their place. Yo, what's up? Name's Warden. Nice to meet you. Warden.
Maybe he's just friendly with everyone?
Warden. Pleasure. cool box. What's inside?
Ow! What gives?
Everyone, stand at attention. My name is Jane. I will be in charge of testing today. Once you've completed your trials, I will be updating your wrist devices to match your decided ability levels.
I hope I don't look as nervous as that guy. I definitely look more nervous than her.
Before we begin, there are a few things we have to get out of the way. Peter Chuck, step forward.
Bet he's in trouble.
For what?
Because he doesn't have an ability.
Now I understand why he was so nervous. Hey, an Earth ability book. Common, but pretty handy. She gave it to you?
You want it? Knock yourself out.
Unable to learn ability. Would you like to convert the ability book into 10 experience points?
Wait, this system prevents me from studying ability books? It's yours. I can't accept it.
You only give them to us so we owe them back.
Quinn Talon.
The records show I don't have an ability. Do I have an ability? Whatever this system is, my parents kept it a secret for a reason.
Here. Standard issue Earth abilities.
I can't.
Pardon?
I don't want it.
Would you excuse me for just a moment? Quinn Talon didn't take the book. How do you wish to proceed?
No abilities or parents? No connection to any originals either. Let's see how he does without the military's assistance, shall we?
Understood, sir.
Talon. Where have I heard that name before? Interesting. No next of kin.
Right. There. Board and blade.
Ready to watch me blow these girls out of the water?
There's no way he's that strong.
And Quinn Talon.
What? You're testing me? I don't have an ability.
And yet you refused an ability book. My commanders instructed me to test your mettle regardless.
They're making an example out of me.
Anyone who isn't Vorden or Quinn, please step off to the side.
Don't worry, Talon. I'll be sure to go easy on you.
It's not a contest.
Not against you, it's not.
What? How am I supposed to hit those targets?
All stats are halved during exposure to sunlight.
This idiot couldn't really be strong, could he?
3, 2, ready? Begin!
Good effort.
I thought it might be different here, but it's more of the same. I'm still a loser. If only there was a little shade.
Ice abilities? What are the chances that there's 2 people in the same class with such rare gifts?
Can't be. That's why he kept touching people. He was sampling abilities.
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without you in particular.
Enough! Prepare for the blade test. The blade test will commence in 3, 2, ready? Begin!
It was nice knowing you, Talon. I'm sure we would have made great friends.
Come on, system. I know you can do more than this. Help me out here.
All stats are halved during exposure to sunlight.
My parents wouldn't leave me this book if it was useless. Come on. Am I about to die? Will I ever find out what my ability does? Warden saved me?
Enough! Warden Blade, level 5, Quinn Talon, level 1.
Thanks, man.
Told you I'd protect you.
Maybe he's not so bad after all? You know, I think I figured out your trick. You copy abilities, right?
Respect. No one's ever figured it out so fast. Wait, is that your ability?
There aren't any ability books that give people a copy ability. You're an original, aren't you?
As you can see, the Dalki have few physical weaknesses. Their heightened sense of smell and sharpened claws make them formidable foes in battle.
Warning. Enemy detected. Initiate battle mode.
In their harsh environments. First, let's examine their physical structure.
Psst. Quinn, yeah? What? You okay, buddy?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You want some? Peter, come on.
Oh. Don't mind if I do.
A level 5 befriending 2 level 1s? He's like no one I've ever met.
Hey, dude, what room you get?
23.
Cool. Fingers crossed we get the same one, right?
Oh, no way. I got 23. We're neighbors.
Hey, you. What room you get?
23.
You're gonna trade me.
What? Why would I do that?
Got any more stupid questions? Hope you got a fight ability.
Please, just take it.
Oh, man. Don't forget your bag.
You, really think it's gonna be different here than from the crap holes we came from?
I guess anything's possible.
Guess who got room 23? Same as Quinn's.
Wow, what are the chances?
Yeah, almost like fate wants us to be best friends. Right, buddy?
Yeah, fate. Yeah.
All right, come on. Heard there's a wild party that just started upstairs. Let's go.
You wanted to see me? Yes. Have a seat. Do you know who this is?
There he goes again. Mr. Popular. Hey, you actually did pretty good on the field today. I honestly thought you were more impressive than Aaron. You were more creative with your power.
Yeah, you're pretty good too, considering you don't have any powers.
Warning. Someone you care for is in danger.
Danger? Vorden's fine. Where's Peter?
You have unlocked a new quest.
First year, nothing out of the ordinary. Orphaned boy. No abilities. And yet you'll notice he refused to take the standard ability book when offered.
Peter. This isn't good.
There's much you don't know. We originals carry a heavy burden that even you, with all your military might, can never comprehend. You think you can just bump into me and not say sorry? Huh?
No, I'm sorry.
I can't hear you! There are abilities far darker and more dangerous than have been made public. Abilities that we are still discovering from books lost to the annals of time.
Warning. Harmful intent detected.
What's this? Another prompt?
Let me guess. You think this boy has an ability so powerful it could end the world? Or end the war before it begins? Well, wouldn't that be nice? You control the older students at the academy, correct? Loyal to my every command. Who do you think you are, level 1?
Initiating battle mode.
Want to find out the hard way?
I believe this Quinn Talon is hiding something. You're going to help me discover it.
You have received another daily quest.
We should run. Find Vorden.
He's barely a level 2. I can take him.
What's gone into?
Make his life hell. Make him suffer. And then we'll see what he becomes.
You would date a dweeb like that.
In time, my friend.
Defeat your opponent for 50 experience points.
I think I just found an easy way to level up. Let's do this.
You weak. The student shouted and came charging forward. Quickly, he slashed his hand out at Quinn. Luckily, Quinn's increased stats allowed him to lift his arm in time to block the attack. However, the student's hand managed to slice right through a part of Quinn's arm, drawing blood. HP 8 of 10. It appeared that the bully had a transformation ability. The ability had changed his hands to tiger claws and had hardened his nails. As the student swung his right hand, Quinn managed to duck and throw a punch of his own into the student's stomach. The student maneuvered his way around Quinn, moving quicker than he looked. His claws slashed at Quinn's unprotected back, injuring him once more. HP 6 of 10. Shut up, I know! Quinn shouted as he lifted the student using both of his hands by the legs and threw him up against the side of the wall. How did Quinn manage to pick him up like that? First fight has been completed. 50 EXP received. 70 of 100 EXP. Is he dead? If he attacks you again, he's going to wish he was. Additional quest reward. Skill unlocked. Level 1 inspect. Quinn then decided to test his new skill and looked at Peter, who was standing next to him. Name, Peter Chuck. Race, human. Ability, none. HP, 3 of 5. Blood type, A+. There was one bit of information that Quinn found very strange, and that was the blood type. It was weird for the system to give him information about such a specific thing. Quinn, I think we better go. Go before someone comes along. You have received an optional quest. Drink the blood of your victim to absorb a stat point. What the? Is this thing crazy? The very idea of it made Quinn feel sick. Still, when looked to the ground where Kyle had spat out some of his blood, he felt magically drawn to the red liquid. Maybe a little bit wouldn't hurt. No, I shouldn't do it. You're going crazy, Quinn. Stop it. Quinn! As the two continued to walk down the hallway, Quinn started to feel a strange surge through his body. Hey, let's go to the doctor. I'm sure the military must have a healer. You don't have to come with me. I can reach there on my own. It will be a busy day tomorrow, so why don't you head back to the dorm? Although Peter was worried about Quinn, Peter didn't want to stick in the halls for much longer where other students were able to see him. He also had an irrational fear that someone would link them with the injured boy down the hallway. Look, don't worry, I'll be fine. I appreciate you looking out for me, Quinn encouraged. With that, Peter quickly rushed off and headed back to the dorms, making sure to cover up his wristwatch most of the time as well. He didn't want to stumble into another bully. Quinn, on the other hand, immediately rushed to the nearest boys' toilet just down the hall. When he entered the toilet, his eyes went to his arm, where Kyle's claws had left an ugly cut. Quinn examined his hand closely. Something strange was happening. He could literally watch his arm healing in real time. Though it looked slow, in reality, it was incredibly fast. For someone to be able to actually witness his skin scabbing over and healing was an amazing sight. Eventually, the wound on his arm and back had healed completely and only the rips on his shirt were left. HP 10 of 10. Your HP has recovered. Your hunger has grown. Does this mean the system uses food to heal my wounds? I guess it makes sense. The energy has to come from somewhere. Quinn thought as he felt himself getting hungry. It was as if he had just missed breakfast or something. He finally reached the training room in the academy, a large oval dome-like building with a huge empty space in the middle. At the edges of the room were rows and rows of technological equipment. The one thing he was interested in was the power level testing equipment. Inside the training center, Quinn had also spotted the same machinery that had been used at the testing field. Unbeknownst to Quinn, Layla had also snuck to the training room before Quinn had entered. She had come to test out her bow and arrow skills. Isn't that the boy I took the test with? If I remember correctly, he had no ability. Layla recognized him, although she could not recall his name. Layla continued to watch Quinn as he approached the large drum. "Let's see," Quinn said to himself as he circled his right arm to warm it up. When he punched the drum, a number appeared on the drum and slowly started to rise until it eventually stopped at 10. "Seems like I was on the mark." Layla, who had been watching from behind one of the robots, also noticed Quinn's new score. Quinn started the test, weaving and dodging through the spikes. Unlike out in the fields, he felt more agile as the spikes whizzed past him. When the test was done, he lasted exactly 20 seconds. With Quinn having confirmed his results, there was nothing left for him to do but head back to the dorm and wait for the next day to start. Layla only had one thought while she looked at Quinn. Maybe there will be a use for him. She decided that from now on, she would keep a close eye on Quinn. The next day, at 8 a.m., the students were woken up by the sound of an alarm in the dorm rooms. It was the signal for everyone to get dressed and start the day. Once everyone was ready, they were to head down to the canteen for breakfast. When Quinn woke up, the system was the first thing that greeted him. Daily quest number 2 has been completed. 5 EXP received. 75 of 100 EXP. Quinn was thankful for this convenient way of gaining 5 EXP without actually having to do anything but sleep. Suddenly, a rumbling sound came from his belly. He felt hungrier than he usually was, as if something was biting through his stomach. Must still be from the fight yesterday. Quinn noticed that low levels sat next to the other low levels, while the high levels sat with the high levels. His school life had just begun, and yet the social norm appeared to have already been established, just like it had been in his old school. While Quinn was waiting in line with Peter and Vorden, a student came late into the queue. He nonchalantly walked past his peers and eventually cut into the line ahead of the rest. Not a single person said a word in protest. The reason for this was simple. The offender had a higher power level than them. Quinn hated these types of actions, but right now there was nothing he could do. Once the three of them got their food, they started looking for a place to eat. "Why don't we go over there?" Vorden pointed at an empty spot. "Are you sure, Vorden? That's a level 1 area. You don't have to sit with us if you don't want to, right, Quinn? Yeah, don't force yourself. Quit talking nonsense, you two. We're friends. I don't care about this stupid power level hierarchy going on." The three of them then went to sit down with the other lower levels on a table. The area slowly started to fill up, but nobody else had decided to sit at their table. Everyone could see his high power level, so the other low levels wanted to stay away, fearing he would bully them. As soon as they sat down, Quinn started to dig in without any regard for table manners, eating everything that was given to him, even the bits he usually didn't like. Quinn ended up not only eating all of his food, but also the leftovers from his two friends. On top of that, Quinn also had grabbed 8 bottles of water, as he wanted to finish his other daily quest as soon as possible. The last time when he had been in the sun, he had sweated far more than usual, but thanks to the water he drank beforehand, he hadn't felt too dehydrated. For a skinny guy, you sure know how to gorge yourself. Although Quinn had clearly eaten a lot, for some reason he still felt a little pang of hunger that wouldn't quite go away. Daily quest number 1 has been completed. Reward 5 EXP, 80 of 100 EXP. Now there were only 20 points separating him from his first level up. He recalled that he had received the Inspect skill as an additional quest reward from his fight yesterday. He turned to Vorden and decided to use it on him. Name, Vorden Blade. Race, human. Ability, none. HP, 10 of 10. Blood type, O negative. Quinn paused for a second as he read over what he was seeing. For some reason, the system was stating that Vorden had no ability. "Hey, Vorden, can you still use Aaron's ice powers at the moment?" "Wow, I didn't know you were so interested in me. Actually, my ability resets every day, and I haven't touched anyone today." They continued to talk for a bit until another alarm notified them that breakfast was over, and that class would start soon. Vorden decided to sit at the back of the class with the level 1s and 2s, between Peter and Quinn. The other students noticed this behavior and quickly started to talk amongst themselves. What does he think he's doing sitting with those bottom feeders? I saw him sit with them in the canteen as well. Won't this cause a problem for the hierarchy at school? Won't the second-year students start to do something? Yeah, if he keeps breaking the rules, then they will definitely step in. The ones at the top didn't really have a problem with this kind of system. The people with lower power levels would do anything they asked them to do just to curry favor with them, hoping that one day they could increase their power level. Anyone who tried to upset this power system was usually quickly silenced. It was the primary reason the group known as Pure existed in the first place. They wanted to fight against this system and reestablish dignity for all humans. When we were about to lose the Great War against the Dalki, Del began, his voice rising to capture the rapturous moment, his eyes blazing, that was when they came forward. The originals. These humans had kept their abilities hidden for hundreds of years, only passing them down to their family members. Thanks to them sharing their abilities with the rest of humanity, we were able to reverse the tide of war and beat back the Dalki. When we talk about an original today, we're either referring to the founders of that ability or a member of one of the groups who have refused to share their abilities with the rest of the world. We might live in a time of peace at the moment, but who knows when the war will start again. That is why you are here. Once the class had finished, it was time for the students to take a break. Vorden, Quinn, and Peter headed outside to grab a snack. As soon as Quinn stepped outside, the dreaded message appeared. All stats have been halved. Hey, are you all right? You look sick again. Yeah, I just get hot easily. A group of 6 male students approached them. We have some business to discuss with the 3 of you. Do you mind coming with us? Quinn, Peter, and Vorden were escorted by the second-year students to a separate part of the school. Should we just run? It might just make the situation worse. If they were going to do something to us, they would have waited until we were on our own. They must have intentionally done this in public to make a statement to all the others. We brought them here, Momo. You guys can leave. Some rumors have reached my ears of a high-level student hanging around with a bunch of low-levels. So what? Is it against the rules? Quinn couldn't help but notice Momo's wristwatch, which displayed the number 6. Momo then walked over to Quinn. You see, the moment you start treating this like they are useful to society, they might start to get a big head. Now that Momo was close enough to Quinn, he tried to use his inspect skill on the older student, but for some reason the status screen was blurry. Is it because I'm out in the sun? Look at this. I'm only a few feet away from him, and there isn't even an ounce of fear in his eyes. Quinn's blood started to boil. He despised the war as it had taken everything away from him, including his parents. Unable to hold his anger in any longer, he threw out a punch. Alas, Momo appeared to have been able to predict his action. Before Quinn had even begun his attack, the older student had taken a step back, making Quinn's fist hit nothing but air. Vorden took this chance to try and grab onto Momo. However, once again Momo had reacted in advance, resulting in Vorden grabbing nothing. I didn't come here to fight you guys. Consider today to be a friendly warning. There are people in this school that not even the military can touch, and if you continue acting this way, they will get involved. With that, Momo headed back up the stairs. Why don't the teachers do something to stop it? With the strong bullying the weak, the latter will try to find a way to become strong themselves. However, if you're weak to begin with and can't rely on your family to help you, where can you go to get this power? The military. Exactly. After experiencing hell for 2 years, your mind will likely have been broken down. In that state, you might do anything to seek power and protection, and the military can offer that for you. I'm sorry, Vorden, but I think it might be for the best if we comply with their wishes and go our separate ways for now. Why should I listen to them? When we break their rules, they probably won't do anything to you. It will be me and Peter they will go for. Fine, have it your way. Vorden was angry, but not at Quinn's words. It seemed that even here, people were dictating how he should live his life, who he could and who he couldn't hang out with. Still, Vorden didn't want Quinn and Peter to get hurt, so he regretfully accepted this as the right choice. Nevertheless, Vorden wasn't going to just let these people get away with trying to control his life. No, he was going to go after them all. Layla had been tracking Quinn and the others for a while now. From afar, she had been watching their encounter with Mono. It was kind of amazing how much attention Quinn managed to attract in a single day. The only thing that Layla was confused about was why Quinn's punch had been so slow and weak. Just before they got back to the first-year building, they came upon a group of first-year students standing in front of the staircase. "What are we going to do? Dan asked for 50 credits by the end of this week. He's picking on us just because we're weaker than him." Credits were the school's and city's currency system. There were restaurants and shops and even fun activities and games to play all around the city. However, they cost credits. The military school didn't want their students to starve, so all 3 meals were free while at the school. Additionally, each student received a daily amount of 10 credits, which was automatically sent to their wristwatch. It was possible for students to earn more credits for rewards, usually by performing well on missions or school activities. "Wait, stop right there, you two. I think I might just have solved our credits problem," the first boy said, grinning. "Lucky us to meet some of the few level 1s in this whole school. Hand over 10 credits each, and we'll let you head inside." "But that's all the credits we have." "Hand over the credits, now." Peter looked at Quinn with some slight hope in his eyes, perhaps thinking that his friend might be able to do something like last time. Unfortunately, after trying to hit Mono, he knew better than to try and fight them. "An enemy ability user has been detected. You have received a new quest. Second fight, defeat the student known as Riley. Reward 50 EXP. A power level difference of 1 has been detected. Additional EXP will be rewarded." The first thing Quinn needed to do was get inside so he could use his inspect skill and find out which one was named Riley. For now, Quinn decided to hand over the 10 credits. He placed his watch on the other boys and the credits got transferred over. "If you pull this sort of thing again on me, Riley, you're dead," Quinn said, and gestured with his hand a cut throat. "What the hell did you say to me, you little—" "Run!" Quinn shouted towards Peter. Like a bolt of lightning, the two friends ran as fast as they could to their next class. At least, he now knew which one Riley was, so he only had to wait for the right opportunity. "You're going to help me level up," he mumbled to himself with a grin. Peter and Quinn had done their best to avoid most other students after everything they had been through. Fortunately, luck finally had smiled upon them, and nobody had troubled them. Once classes had finished, it was time to go for dinner. Quinn noticed he still had this pang of hunger in his stomach, so he was looking forward to dinner with enthusiasm. This time, Quinn and Peter both sat on their own at a table in the low-level area. "I don't see Vorden anywhere. Do you think he's okay?" "I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think we both know that he is a lot safer than us at this school." To their surprise, Vorden was already in the dorm room, lying on his own bed. "I wanted to apologize for earlier. I wasn't angry at you guys, but just at this whole situation." When Vorden got up from the bed, Quinn noticed a bruise on the side of their friend's face. It was slightly red and a little swollen. "What happened to your face?" Peter asked. "Oh, this?" Vorden touched the marking. "I got into a little scuffle of my own, but don't worry, I didn't lose." A loud growling noise escaped from Quinn's stomach, shifting the topic. "Sorry, I guess I'm still hungry after dinner. Why don't you grab something from the convenience store? It's not too far away." Although he would have liked to buy himself a snack, he had no credits after their earlier encounter. Before he could even say anything, Vorden had come over and tapped his watch against Quinn's. "Transfer of 10 credits successful," the notification sounded. "Don't refuse, man. Just take it as my apology and go grab something." "Thanks." Quinn left Peter and Vorden on their own and rushed off to the convenience store. Once past the gates, Quinn decided to test out how much 10 stamina points really were. He noticed while running at night, he could see everything very clearly. Even when there were no streetlights, it was as if the moon had lightened everything up. A type of night vision of sorts. "Your hunger grows slightly." I know. Annoyed, Quinn waved it away. "I will deal with that in a moment." Once Quinn entered the convenience store, he grabbed a few of his favorite snacks. That was when he suddenly spotted Riley and his friends in the same store. "Here, I thought I would have to track him down, but it seems like he's come right to me." As he waited, he looked around him, only to notice that next to him were a lot of masks. Quinn waited until he heard Riley and the others leave the store. Then he grabbed the mask and snacks and placed them on the counter. Ironically, while Quinn had been busy stalking Riley and his friends, he completely ignored the only other person in the store, Layla. "What the? We're months away from Halloween, so what is he doing buying a mask like that?" She decided to continue to follow Quinn and see what he was up to. I think I'll just head back and wait by the school gate, see if there are any more suckers I can leech some credits from. Riley started to head back to school and passed through a small park on the way back. The area was completely void of people at this time and had very little lighting. There were also plenty of trees for Quinn to hide behind. It's showtime. Quinn hyped himself up as he put on the mask. Quinn continued to follow Riley through the woody area of the park, waiting for him to get a good spot before ambushing him. Making sure that nobody else was around, he got ready to strike. Even if he spots me now, he won't know who to come back to for revenge. Riley, oblivious to the fact that he had company, went through the information on his watch. The glowing light displayed his total of 80 credits. I'm a genius. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. Riley was still lost in his daydream when out of nowhere something hit him from the side. He felt the impact on his face and staggered to the floor, holding his chin. When he looked up from where he had fallen, he saw the silhouette of a boy standing over him with a horrifying mask. Under the moonlight, it looked like real blood, making Riley panicked. What the heck? Who are you? Quinn would be stupid to answer this question. He wanted to finish the fight fast. He ran up to Riley and threw another kick. Alas, this time Riley was prepared and lifted his hands, managing to block the kick. What's worse, when Quinn's leg hit Riley's hands, it felt as if he had kicked against solid rock. God damn it! You must be one of the students I took credits from earlier. Let me guess, you thought you could get some revenge, huh? Nice try, but that's all it was. Name, Riley Blade. Race, human. Ability, hardening. HP, 8 of 10. Blood type, B+. Although Quinn's initial surprise attack hadn't been enough, he still felt like he could win this fight. He charged in once again, this time throwing a fist. The attack was faster than Riley had expected, not giving him time to use his hardening skill, and therefore taking the blow right in the face. Quinn threw another punch with his other hand, but Riley had predicted this, and had managed to harden his face in time. When the fist hit the hardened face, once again Quinn felt like he was hitting a rock. Your fist is broken. 7 of 10 HP. Quinn screamed in pain and stepped back, creating some distance between the two. Damn! What am I meant to do if he keeps hardening his body? Most likely Riley was only able to harden a single part of his body at a time. It was just a theory, but Quinn had nothing to lose, and this gave him a plan. He ran forward at Riley once more, shouting, I'm going to punch that ugly face of yours, even if it's the last thing I do. Riley hardened his face and was ready to laugh at his attacker once again, ending up hurting himself. But at the last second, Quinn changed his punch into a kick, aimed at the boy's unprotected stomach. It worked, Quinn thought as the other bent over in pain. With one last fast, swift attack to the back of his head, the red-haired boy got knocked out. Second fight has been completed. 50 EXP received. Additional reward, 20 EXP received. 100 of 100 EXP. You have reached the maximum amount of EXP. Would you like to level up? Once you have leveled up, any changes will be irreversible. Not heeding the warning, Quinn shouted out, Who cares? Yes! Congratulations, you are now level 2. Evolution process has started. Evolution? What the? His euphoria from a moment ago had instantly vanished, replaced with a large stabbing pain in his heart. The organ started to beat faster than it had ever done before, the blood rushing through his veins all over his body. The excruciating pain was too much for him. Falling on his knees, he tried his best to refrain from screaming, afraid he might alarm someone. The pain continued to spread throughout his body. He was so focused on that feeling that he failed to notice that his broken hand was healing alongside his leg, his full attention on the sharp stabbing pain, now in his teeth. Congratulations, you have successfully evolved. You are now a halfling. He had never heard of the term halfling before, and apparently the process was irreversible. Before he could spend any more time on it, even more messages appeared. Your stats have increased. Skill unlocked. Level 1, Blood Swipe. Blood Swipe. The skill has a range of 5 meters. It will fire out a red line of energy from the user's hands. To use the skill, the user must use their own blood, causing -1 HP per blood swipe. He had no time to check his new stats, as yet another message showed itself, this one bolder than the previous ones. It drove Quinn into a state of shock. Your hunger grows. You can no longer suppress your need for blood. Your HP will decrease by -1 HP every hour until you have consumed human blood. Have I become a vampire? He mumbled to himself. The truth had been staring him in the face long enough. All the signs had been there. The book about vampires granting him EXP, growing weaker when hit by sunlight, the constant hunger, the clear night vision, and the way the blood of his first victim had been enticing him to consume it. Quinn was not sure he could do what the system was demanding of him. There was this moral binding, his last shred of humanity that held him back from completely turning into a beast. He stood there looking down at Riley, who had passed out on the ground. It was the perfect opportunity for him to do as the system demanded. Something was drawing him to Riley's body. He could smell his victim's blood. He could hear the beating heart. Without realizing it, he bent towards Riley and could see his pulse beating through his neck. You have received an optional quest. Drink the blood of your victim to absorb a stat point. There were many questions on Quinn's mind, questions he was unsure about and had no answers. How much blood was he supposed to consume? Would Riley die if he did this? Would he perhaps turn and become another vampire like him? Layla had continued to watch Quinn ever since he had left the convenience store. When she had seen him follow after Riley and donning the mask, she had understood what he was about to do. She saw Quinn lift Riley's body slightly off the floor while kneeling beside the unconscious boy. Yet the gaze he was looking at him was very strange. It wasn't the gloating type of look of a winner over a loser. What the? Layla wondered. He can't be planning to kiss him. What is wrong with this guy? The next moment, Quinn placed the unconscious body back down. Unable to come to a decision, his mind continued to go back and forth. Damn it! In the movies it looks so easy. Just the idea of sticking my teeth into someone. I just can't do it. Layla started to slowly creep about closer through the bushes and trees. Then suddenly, her foot had landed on a small twig, and a snapping sound was heard. What was that? Quinn thought as he turned and looked around, but could see no one. However, in a panic that someone was coming his way and would find him, he left the body where it was and headed back to school. I wonder what that was all about. In the end, he didn't do anything. Layla was curious what the point of him at the end had been. Quinn hurried head back to school and placed the mask into his shopping bag. Quinn then decided to open his status screen to see if his stats had changed after evolving. From what he could see, merely his HP had increased by 50%, while everything else had remained the same. Quinn thought about it for a while and decided to add a point to his agility. Agility 11. What he wanted right now was to become fast and agile like an assassin. Quinn wondered if there was a reason why the system had only given him 1 point, but then he recalled the optional quests it had offered him. So far, Quinn would have been able to gain an additional 2 stat points, whereas leveling up only granted a single one. If he wanted to get stronger fast, then that would be the quickest way. However, Quinn was unsure of whether or not he would be able to go through with it. Quinn decided to head to his room where he could hear Vorden and Peter practicing together. Peter was trying his best to learn the ability book the military had given him, while Vorden was tutoring him. What took you so long? Oh, I just went exploring the city a little. I'm a bit tired, so I think I'm going to bed early today. Maybe we should call it a day for now as well? Although Quinn had been the one to suggest going to sleep, he was unable to. His stomach was in a tremendous amount of pain, and he had too much on his mind. If what the message had claimed would be true, Quinn only had a limited amount of time to solve his problem. When he woke up the next day, the pain was worse than before. 10 hours have passed. Your hunger grows. You have lost -10 HP. HP 5 of 15. Your HP will continue to decrease every hour. Hey, Quinn, you all right, man? Vorden asked, seeing Quinn's face. Yeah, I just got to go somewhere. Quinn excused himself as he rushed out of the room, heading down to the canteen. Everything that had happened so far had been a miscalculation on Quinn's part. Although the system had warned him about his 1 HP loss every hour, he hadn't expected his body to react like that. In fact, he had only planned to sleep for 5 hours. That way he would have nearly half a day to come up with a plan how to rid himself of his problem, ideally before morning classes started. Quinn made his way to the canteen queue to be served some food. He was taking in deep breaths, slowly, an action that was supposed to help him get the hang of his heightened senses. Right now, he was able to hear the conversation from the other side of the room, pots and pans clanging in the kitchen as if they were next to him. Slowly, Quinn was figuring out how to ignore all those sounds, clearing his mind. Just then, Riley entered the canteen. Surprisingly, he had no bruises on his body from yesterday's fight. The only possibility was that he had made a full recovery at the medical center. Nevertheless, he looked like he was in a terrible mood after that experience. Ironically, as soon as he saw Quinn, he decided to have found the perfect target to take out all his pent-up frustration on. "Hey, Pipsqueak, you got a problem if I cut in front of you?" However, Quinn was too busy trying to isolate the sounds from his mind to pay attention to him. "Who the hell do you think you are?" Riley shouted as he grabbed Quinn by the collar. In that instant, Riley's face was incredibly close to his. Just like yesterday, he could hear Riley's heartbeat. He could feel the blood flowing through his arm and muscles lifting his shirt. Something took over Quinn's body, and he immediately hit Riley's arm away and pounced on him, causing the two of them to fall to the ground. Quinn was now on top of Riley and had both his hands pinned down. "Get off me, you crazy animal!" Riley screamed, but when Riley tried to overpower Quinn and lift his hands, it was impossible. His ability to harden his skin was useless in this kind of situation. Then, Quinn started to feel something growing in his mouth. Quinn placed his head just a few inches away from Riley's neck and got ready to bite in. Just as he opened his mouth, though, he felt someone pull him by the back of his collar and chucked him off Riley towards the people in the queue. "Don't touch one of my boys!" Dan was a large teenager with a muscular build. His appearance was more like that of a bald adult. As soon as Dan took one step forward, though, Vorden stepped in front of Quinn with Peter. "Do you really want to cause a problem?" Vorden asked, lifting his arm to show the power level of his wristwatch. In reality, Vorden was only bluffing. Vorden's power very much depended on what ability he copied, and right now all he had access to was Peter's level 1 Earth ability. If they were to get into a fight here, there was no contest on who would win. Fortunately, Vorden's plan succeeded, as Dan decided to back down after seeing the number 5, taking Riley with him. After the canteen incident was over, something became clear to Quinn. The teachers wouldn't step in no matter what happened. He could do was try to calm himself down while in the middle of class and watch his HP slowly tick away. "What the hell is happening to me?" Quinn was worried. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. Each time Quinn's HP went down, it was getting harder and harder to control his own body. Quinn eventually ended up in the library. "Please have something I can use," Quinn prayed as he took out fantasy book after fantasy book about vampires. He sat on the floor and read one last book and found nothing of use. When he closed the book, he could see Layla standing there opposite him. "Are you okay?" Layla bent down so she was at eye level with him and placed her hand on his forehead to check his temperature. "Do you want me to take you to the nurse's office?" Quinn hadn't heard a single word she had said. Her neck had been too mesmerizing. The urge was uncontrollable. Sighing, he pulled Layla by the arm, bringing her close to him. A weak sorry escaped his lips as he bit into her neck. His teeth quickly sunk into Layla's skin, and at the same time a gush of blood entered Quinn's mouth. Surprisingly, Layla didn't feel any pain from this. Even if she wanted to resist, she couldn't. The bite seemed to have a paralysis effect. Finally, Quinn's hunger was dissipating. "Your hunger has decreased. Your hunger has decreased. You will no longer lose HP." Even though the messages appeared one after the other, Quinn continued to suck Layla's blood away. "HP regenerating. HP regenerating. 15 of 15 HP. Immediately he let go of Layla, causing her body to fall to the ground. "What the—" Quinn wondered aloud, unsure where he was. "Did I do that? A positive blood type has been absorbed. You have gained 1 strength." Thankfully, Quinn could hear Layla breathing, so he at least wouldn't have to worry about accidentally having sucked her dry. Unfortunately, there were 2 clear bite marks on her neck that needed to be dealt with. He then lifted Layla up with his 2 hands. To his surprise, discovered she was lighter than he had imagined. Not wasting any time, he headed to the doctor's office, all the while going over what had just happened. Would Layla remember anything when she got up, or would Quinn have to convince her to keep it a secret? If others were to find out of his rare ability, it would start a bidding war between the private companies and the military. They would do anything to get their hand on such a new type of ability. Before anyone could find out about Quinn, he had to become strong enough to protect himself. While Quinn walked down the hallway, he got quite a few looks from the other students. It wasn't strange to see someone carry an injured person in the school, but it was strange for a boy to carry a girl unless they were an item. After enduring all those strange looks, Quinn finally reached the infirmary. Inside there was a single female doctor named Haley. "There's a free bed there," If you could leave her there, I will get to her as soon as I can." Haley came over to where Quinn and Layla were and started to examine Layla. "What happened? I was in the library when I saw her on the ground like that. Classes ended not too long ago, so it can't have been too long since she passed out, yet the wound on her neck looks like it's already healing on its own. Is it okay if I wait here for her? Oh, young kids these days. She's lucky to have someone as caring as you by her side." No. We're just friends, that's all." After Haley had gone away to look after other students, Quinn decided to open up his status screen. Strength, 11. Agility, 11. Stamina, 10. So it really did give me an extra stat point after all. Quinn was theoretically able to drink anyone's blood to gain stat points. However, what would happen if he drank Layla's blood again? Quinn looked around the room and Haley appeared to be busy dealing with another student. He carefully took the syringe and hid it behind his back, and then quickly scooted over to where Layla was once more. "I'm really sorry about this, Layla," Quinn apologized to the girl, "but you're going to have to be my guinea pig." He carefully searched for the right spot, and just when he was ready to extract some blood, he heard someone crash into the room. "Quinn, thank God you're here! Quick, I've been looking everywhere for you! It's Vorden, he's in trouble!" "All right, come on, let's hurry." When the two of them entered the assembly hall, there were already multiple students there mumbling about a commotion. "Did you see what happened?" "Yeah, that guy's a monster. How could he do that?" "Luckily, the second-year students were here to stop him." The assembly hall was completely trashed. Craters and rubble had formed on parts of the walls and ground. Burn marks and other things were there as well, and there was even blood. "What happened here? I don't know. Me and Vorden were busy messing around, practicing my Earth ability together. That's when a bunch of second-years I'd never seen before came up to us asking for Vorden. Vorden told me not to worry, but of course I'm so worried, so I followed them. That's when I saw them take him to the assembly hall, but two of the students stood guard and wouldn't let me come inside. I didn't know what to do, so that's when I came looking for you." The smell of iron in the room was thicker than anything else to Quinn, and it led him to an area where dried-up blood could be seen on the floor. "Inspect. Name, Vorden Blade. Race, human. Blood type, O negative." Quinn started to inspect the battle scene and found more traces of blood, but when he used the inspect skill on them, it wouldn't show him any information at all. The two of them then headed back to the dorm room together, and when they entered, they were surprised to actually see Vorden already there. Just by looking at him, Quinn and Peter could tell he had been in a rough fight. "Vorden, what happened? Is everything all right?" "Yeah, just leave me be. I'll be fine. If you stay near me, you will just get hurt anyway." "Look at you! You have to go to the doctor's office! Come on, let's go!" "Just leave me alone, please." "Quinn, come on, say something! He needs to go to the doctor's office, right?" But as Peter turned around to seek support from Quinn, Quinn was nowhere to be seen. "Even he thinks I'm a monster." Just outside the dorm room, Quinn was leaning up against the door, panting hard and sweating. Although he had no reaction when looking at people anymore, it was different when he saw Vorden. Vorden still had fresh cut marks all over his body, and the smell coming off him was strong. Suddenly, Quinn felt like he had a craving for a little bit of blood. Whatever problems Vorden were dealing with now would just have to wait. Layla slowly started to open her eyes. As Layla looked around the room, she started to rub her neck, and at the same time, images had flashed through her head of what had happened at the library. She remembered everything. It wasn't a painful memory, but quite an addictive feeling. The sensation of the blood rushing through her body. Her face was starting to turn a little red just thinking about it. That's when she lifted her hand and placed it on her neck. "Huh? I can't feel anything." "Oh, I got rid of those 2 marks for you. Do you remember what happened?" "I'm not sure. Maybe it was a beast?" "Well, whatever it was, I'm sure someone else will deal with it. It's just a good thing you're safe now." Finally, Quinn had reached the doctor's office, and he pulled the door wide open. "Oh, hello again," Haley said. "If you're looking for the girl, you just missed her. She left a little while ago." "Thanks for letting me know," Quinn said as he closed the door. Why did Layla decide to keep it a secret? Quinn thought. He had basically assaulted the poor girl. Good it be that she didn't remember what happened, or maybe she was planning to use blackmail against him. But that didn't make sense. She had nothing to gain. He felt a hand on his shoulder. "You and I, we need to talk." The two of them then headed to the library where the incident took place. "What happened at the library? What did you do?" Layla asked, rubbing her neck. "Why bother asking if you already know what happened? I don't know if you know this, but I kept an eye on you for longer than you think. You're a vampire, aren't you?" And why would you think that? I saw you lifting that boy's neck. At the time, I thought you doing something else, because I couldn't see clearly. But after what you had done to me, it confirms it. Quinn started to sweat slightly at the integration. He wasn't worried about Layla herself, but the troubles she could bring him in the future. I want you to hear me out. I want you to make me a vampire. What? Do you realize what you are saying right now? It's a childhood dream of mine. This type of thing only happens in books or fairy tales, and now I have the chance for it to happen right now. Layla had grown up her whole life reading fantasy stories and comics about all sorts of things. She loved everything about them, how they had to keep their identity secret to the world, the super strength they had, the super speed, and the fact that they could live on nearly forever. Please, I'll do anything for you. All right, I understand. Please get up. It's not what you think. I'm not a vampire. I became like this from an ability book. Suddenly, the smile on Layla's face disappeared. You know what that means, right? Quinn was basically telling her it was impossible for him to give her this ability. Because Layla already had the ability of telekinesis, it meant Layla was unable to learn a second ability. Then why did you hide this from the Academy? Why did you tell them you had no ability? If you got this from an ability book, you can't be an original. Have you ever heard of an ability like this? But if you told the school you got it from an ability book, one that's not even being registered, and you aren't an original, you can make a fortune selling the book. When I learnt the ability, the book simply vanished. Quinn then proceeded to tell Layla about everything that had happened so far, but left out the details about the game-like system, only stating that he continued on as normal when suddenly he had this incurable hunger. Layla felt like it was a mixture of things she had read about vampires before. Fine, I will keep this as a secret, but only on one condition. I want to help you out. We can't have you going around school biting people. They'll take you away in a heartbeat. If you need to feast on someone, then feast on me. It's a deal, Quinn said, as the two of them shook hands. Layla was happy that Quinn had accepted. The truth was, Layla still hadn't given up on the idea of being a vampire. Vorden had entered the library and could see Quinn talking to Layla, both chatting and smiling away. Have you forgotten about me that quickly already? You're mine, and I'm not letting anyone hurt you. Peter was currently running around the school looking for Quinn or Vorden. For some reason, both of his new friends had suddenly started acting very strange, and Peter didn't know what to do about it. For the first time ever, he had made friends that protected him. Quinn, even though he was a low level himself, had stood up for Peter and Vorden, who had not only protected him, but helped him learn his new ability. Although Peter had no clue what was going on with Quinn, he had some idea about what had changed Vorden. It was after whatever had happened at the assembly hall with the second-year students. But no matter who he would talk to about it, not one person would give him an answer. Some even began to threaten him. That's when Peter could hear a familiar voice. While walking down the hallway, Peter could hear someone speaking, a voice he recognized. As he turned the corner, he saw that it was indeed Vorden. Vorden stood there staring idly at the ground. Peter quickly hid back around the hallway corner. So far, whenever Peter had spotted Vorden, he would just ignore him and walk away without even speaking to him. But now it sounded like Vorden was speaking to someone else. Would you two calm down? Vorden said. There was then a brief pause before Vorden spoke again. I don't care if he hurt the little one's feelings. It's not like Quinn isn't allowed to talk to other people. Again, there was a slight pause. Look, if you get involved and hurt them, I won't forgive you. I won't let something like last time happen again. The whole time Peter was listening into the conversation, the only voice he could hear was Vorden's, but it was clear that he was speaking to someone. Peter couldn't take it anymore and decided to take a peek, and as he did, still the only person he could see was Vorden. Did the other person leave already? Peter thought. Just then he saw Vorden start to walk off. The bell had rung, indicating that it was the end of their lunch break and it was time to head to afternoon classes. That's when the library doors opened and Quinn and Layla appeared out walking together. Quinn, Peter said as he waved him over. I'll meet you at the front gate tonight once classes are over, Quinn said to Layla before leaving to join Peter. I'm glad you're okay. Look, I'm really worried about Vorden. Ever since he came back from that assembly hall, he's been acting strange. Don't worry, we'll find out what's going on together. When they entered their next class, they could see that Vorden was already in his seat, sitting down, ready even before them. Oh, hey guys, how are you doing? Hey, are you feeling better? Earlier it seemed like you were kinda sulking. Yeah, don't worry. I just kinda got thrown around a bit by the second year and it got me pretty down. What happened at the assembly hall? Vorden's face slightly changed. It was as if he was trying to hold something back. Vorden clenched his fists for a few seconds and finally relaxed his hands. Guys, don't worry about it too much. You know I'm strong and know I can handle myself. Although Peter was quite satisfied now with Vorden, as he seemed to be his regular self, Quinn noticed that Vorden seemed to be holding something back, almost suppressing something when he asked that question. As the students sat down, the talks continued, and several different words could be heard. Monster, freak, weirdo, crazy, and all these words were being aimed at Vorden. After hearing these words, Quinn noticed that Vorden stayed there motionless with his head down. He hadn't even written any notes down in his notebook about the lesson. Although it seemed like no one would tell him or Peter what had happened, Quinn now had another ally that might be able to help him, and that was Layla. At the end of the class, the teacher Dell projected a screen in front of the whole class. There was a list of names, each sorted into a different category. Please look at this carefully and see where your name is, as tomorrow will be the start of your combat classes. The list was split up into several different categories. Each one was different depending on what type of ability you had. Elemental abilities, transformation abilities, enhancement abilities, and so on. That's when Quinn also noticed that his and a few other names were not on the list, including Vorden's. If your name is not on the list, it's because either your ability doesn't fall into one of the categories, or you are an original with a unique ability. You are free to choose to go to whichever class you believe suits you. Students are also able to switch between combat classes if they wish. These are not set in stone, but the school's recommendation based on your ability. I wonder what combat class would be best for me. Peter was pleased that it seemed like the group had gotten back normal again. There was no tension between the three of them, and Peter wished it would stay that way forever. Just then, when Quinn had left, Vorden and Peter were left in the room. That's when Vorden asked Peter a question. Hey, have you seen Quinn hanging around with a girl lately? Come to think of it, I saw him exit with a girl at the library. It was the same one who was at the test with us that day, with the bow and arrow. After Peter had given an answer, for a split second, Peter felt like he saw the expression on Vorden's face change. Maybe he's gone and got himself a little girlfriend. Quinn had, of course, decided to ditch the other two because he had already made plans to meet up with Layla beforehand. The two of them were to meet at the school gate. But before the two of them were to meet, Quinn decided to stop by the science lab. Although most lessons in military school were about combat or how to use technology, science was still a core subject. But Quinn wasn't looking for anything too fancy. All he needed was some test tubes and small corks. After searching around the room for a while, he found where they kept the test tubes. He took a total of 5. Even though there were many there, if he took too much it would be suspicious, and Quinn couldn't carry more than 5 without having to worry about them breaking or not. Quinn currently had a total of 60 of 200 EXP until his next level up. 50 experience points had carried over from the last quest, and he had received 10 EXP from his 2 daily quests. So far, with each level up, he would gain 1 additional stat point and 5 points of HP. Although Quinn had gotten stronger through this, it wasn't the fastest way for him to improve his strength. Quinn realized the system had offered him the chance to gain an additional stat point 2 times as long as he drank his victim's blood, but when he drank Layla's blood, he still gained a stat point. This was what Quinn wanted to test out today. As planned, Layla was standing there waiting for him by the gate with her bow on her back. After the two of them met, they decided to walk to the nearby park that was in between the convenience store and the school. Then they ventured away from the trail into the woods where they were behind cover. No one ventured in these parts, and it was hard for them to be seen. So, are we going to do this? Layla asked excitedly. Quinn still found it weird that rather than being scared by the whole situation, Layla was excited. All right, close your eyes, said Quinn. Layla closed her eyes and was ready. She could still remember the satisfying feeling from the last time and couldn't wait to feel it again. Layla felt a small prick in her arm. Layla opened her eyes and noticed that a needle was there. What? You didn't think I was going to bite you, did you? Layla's cheeks suddenly went bright red. If it wasn't for the needle in her hand, she would have tried kicking Quinn away. Once the syringe had been filled up, Quinn squirted it out into one of the test tubes he brought with him. Is it okay if I fill another one? Quinn asked. Layla didn't say anything and held out her arm. She was still a bit embarrassed about what had happened earlier. Once Quinn had filled up 2 test tubes, he put one of the blood-filled tubes in his bag while holding the other. Inspect. Blood of Layla Monroe. Blood type A positive. Quinn then looked at Layla and used his inspect skill once again. Name, Layla Monroe. Race, human. Ability, telekinesis. HP, 12 of 12. Blood type A positive. It was as Quinn thought. When using the inspect skill on the blood, it only showed him what blood type it was and who it was from, just like the time at the assembly hall. But if the person was in front of him, it would reveal their ability, HP, and blood type. Some of the blood marks in the hall only revealed question marks, assuming that Quinn either had to have run into the person before or used the inspect skill on the person once before. Quinn looked at the test tube and gulped. He then pulled out the cork at the top and started sniffing the blood. You're not going to drink it right here, are you? Why not? I need to know if it will make any changes. I don't know, it feels kind of embarrassing. I can't explain. Quinn ignored Layla and looked at the blood again. The fragrance smelled quite sweet, which was different from how he remembered it before. Then suddenly, Quinn lifted the tube and drank the blood in one gulp. As the blood ran down his throat, he felt a warm tingling sensation through his body. The blood was also surprisingly sweet rather than metallic. It seemed like the race change had also changed his taste buds and sense of smell. Your HP is already full. The blood will have no effect. Blood from this person has already been consumed. No stat points will be given. Quinn was surprised to see at the information he had been given. The blood last time seemed to have a healing effect on his body. Judging by the message, if Quinn was injured, Layla's blood would allow him to regain HP. But the second message is what interested him more. The system stated because he had already consumed this blood before, that no stats would be given. This meant that as long as it was the blood of someone he hadn't drunk before, he would be able to get an extra stat point. Quinn smiled at the thought. Of course, this was only a theory of his, but Quinn wanted to test it out straight away. I guess whatever you wanted to test outworked. Judging by your creepy smile and all, if only there was someone else's blood I could test this on. Just then the sound of 2 people entering the woods from the playground was heard. Quinn and Layla immediately ducked down and hid behind a tree. That's when they saw 2 students starting to walk into the forest. Now hand over your credits, otherwise I'll dig you your grave right here and no one will ever find your body, a boy's voice said. Quinn immediately recognized the voice. It was Riley. It looked like he still hadn't learnt his lesson and was still up to his old tricks. Quinn then went into his bag and took out the mask he had bought at the convenience store. Last time he had let Riley go without taking any of his blood, and now he felt like it was such a waste. But this time, Quinn wouldn't let Riley go. As Quinn put on his mask, he moved in closer to where Riley and the student were, making sure to move in and out between the trees. Hey, do you want a beating? Pass over the credits now, Riley said, holding up the student against the tree. But I only get 10 credits a day. They're mine. This isn't fair. Since when has this world ever been fair? Blame the people at the top for not looking out for us. As Quinn heard those words, he realized that Riley was in the same position as him. He was only a level 2 user and was just part of the weak bunch being pushed around by those above, but that didn't mean he could do it to others. That would fix nothing. Layla followed Quinn closely and had taken out her bow and arrow. She knew from last time if Quinn had put on the mask, he was going to act. Do you want me to help out? It will be easier with the 2 of us. It's okay, there's something I wanted to test out. The last time the 2 of them had fought, Quinn was only a level 1. Now he was a level 2, and he also had obtained a new skill which he wanted to test, and Riley was a great test subject. Quinn started to move closer and closer. He was hoping to finish off Riley in one shot, and this was the perfect chance while his back was turned. Finally, Quinn was just about in striking distance. That's when the student held up against the tree and spotted Quinn. Please help me, the student cried. You idiot! Quinn shouted as he leapt forward, hoping he could be quick enough to hit Riley before he could activate his ability. The student's warning had given Riley enough time to activate his ability and turn around. However, Quinn's fist was fast, and even though Riley put out his hands to stop the attack, Quinn's fist still managed to hit Riley in the stomach. The impact was just like last time. It was solid and felt like he was punching a wall, but the blow managed to still hurt Riley a bit. The attack was slightly stronger, and this time Quinn's fist hadn't broken. I've been waiting for you, Riley said as he put 2 fingers in his mouth and whistled. Just then, 2 students came running in from the park and into the forest. You think you can take on 3 of us? Quinn looked at the 2 students running towards them, and that's when an arrow came flying from the woods and hit one of them in the knee, causing the student to instantly fall to the ground. The other students went down to his friend. "What happened?" the student said. Then he noticed an arrow in the student's leg. "Where did this come from?" Quinn saw this as an opportunity and dashed away from Riley and started heading towards the other student. "The skill said 5 meters, right? Well, show me what you got." As soon as Quinn was within 5 meters, he activated his skill Blood Swipe, at the same time swinging his hand across. A red line of power came surging out of Quinn's fingertips and hit the student right on the chest, causing a claw-like mark, but it wasn't enough to knock him out. "Blood Swipe, Blood Swipe, Blood Swipe!" Quinn then cast 3 more blood swipes, swinging his arm out. Each blow managed to hit the student dead on, with multiple marks across his chest. He had finally collapsed to the floor. HP 11 of 15. An opponent has been defeated. 50 EXP granted. 110 of 200 EXP. Blood Swipe had no cooldown, but did use 1 point of HP per swipe. As long as Quinn had HP, he could continuously cast out his Blood Swipe skill. Riley, seeing his 2 teammates who were of equal power level to himself be defeated in an instant, started to feel scared. His body was shaking, and all he wanted to do was get out of there. He turned away from his friends and started running deeper into the forest. Quinn's speed was greater, though, and was easily able to catch up. When his attack was in range, Quinn cast 2 more blood swipes aiming for the back of Riley's ankles. As they hit, Riley fell to the ground. "Please, please don't hurt me, I'll do anything." "Oh, really?" Quinn then placed his watch up against Riley's. "Hand over all your credits." "But if I do, I won't have enough credits for Dan. He'll kill me." Is now really the time to worry about Dan? Riley quickly transferred over 50 credits that he had obtained that day over to Quinn. "So, will you let me go now?" Just then, Riley could see a sinister smile appear on Quinn's face through the bottom of his mask. "No," Quinn said. He then went up behind Riley and held him in a choking position. Riley tried activating his hardening skill, but Quinn's strength was still strong enough to get through, and eventually caused Riley to pass out. "That's for pushing me around in the canteen." Quinn then went to his bag to pull out a test tube and held Riley's leg up, allowing the blood to slowly drip into the test tube until it filled up. Quinn then did the same with the other 2 students collecting blood from their open wounds. After they had finished collecting the blood, it was time for them to get out of there and leave the scene. Students who were found injured outside the school would be taken to the doctor's office. When the 2 of them arrived at the school, it was still 9 o'clock, so they had an hour before they needed to head to their dorm rooms. "So, what do you need all the blood for? You know, if you need some blood, you can just take some of mine any time. I really don't mind." "Thanks, but I just wanted to test something out." "Inspect." Quinn had used his inspect skill on each of the containers. The first was Riley's blood. "Blood type B positive." "Here goes," Quinn said, as he popped the cork open and drank the small tube of blood. "You have regained 5 points of HP, 14 of 15 HP. B positive blood type has been absorbed. Plus 1 point of agility has been added." Drinking the blood no longer bothered him once he found out the taste was quite sweet. All Quinn needed to do was convince himself it was some type of juice. "You have regained 1 point of HP, HP 15 of 15. This person's blood has been consumed before. No extra stats will be given." As Quinn thought, the blood still regained his health, similar to how a potion worked in a game, but once a person's blood had been consumed, it would no longer give him any stat points. Quinn then drank the 2 other test tubes from the other students. "Blood type A negative has been absorbed, plus 1 strength point has been added. Blood type AB positive has been absorbed, plus 1 stamina point has been added." Assuming being positive or negative blood type didn't matter so far, A type had given him strength, B gave him agility, and AB stamina. Quinn couldn't help but wonder what would happen if he drank the O type. What Quinn needed more than ever was more skills he could use. Blood Swipe was great, but it only had a distance of 5 meters, and it took away his health. With other abilities, you would be able to obtain new skills by purchasing books or being taught by someone who already knew the skill. Quinn didn't have this option, as there was no one who he knew that had the same ability as him, and that, of course, meant there were no skill books either. Before Layla and Quinn split ways to head back to their dorm rooms, Quinn had one last request. "What do you know about what happened to Vorden? Honestly, I don't know too much, because when everything happened, I was stuck in the hospital bed because of someone. Well, do you mind finding out for me? It seems like the second years are behind this and are stopping me and Peter from getting any information. The second years are involved in this? Well, that's not good. You're not planning to get involved, are you? That Momo person had warned them not to disturb the system within the school. But now with this ability, he could grow stronger without the need of help or relying on others, and he couldn't wait for the day he could punch that Momo's smug face in. Yeah, but I need to get stronger, of course. There was one big difference between the second years and first years, and that was something called awakening. The second years had learned how to awaken their ability. This allowed the user, regardless of the power level, to get a power boost for a short period of time. Once a user had awakened, they then could also form something called their soul weapon, a powerful weapon unique to each user that was formed in the body itself. This was different from a beast weapon, as a beast weapon could be used by anyone. Quinn headed back to his dorm room where Vorden and Peter were still practicing their earth abilities. I did it! I finally did it! Peter held a small, round, solid lump of mud in his hand. As he moved his hands, he was able to change the shape of the mud. He turned it from a ball into a long staff, then back into a ball again. The only problem is, as a level 1 user, you'll need to keep some type of mud on you at all times, Vorden explained. Perhaps it's best you keep it as a round staff and carry it around with you. Then you will always have something to take with you. Vorden then grabbed the mud and started to demonstrate. He did the same thing as Peter and started to change the mud ball into different shapes. But the difference between speeds was noticeable. While Peter took a long time to form the shape he wanted, Vorden was changing the mud in seconds. Wow, is this 'cause you're a level 5 user, Vorden? No, this is something you should be able to do as well. It just takes practice. When I copy someone's ability, I also copy whatever power level it is at. So everything I can do with this mud, you should be able to do as well. Vorden then turned the mud ball into a sharp dagger and placed it up against Peter's neck. See? Not so useless after all. Peter gulped as he looked down at the sword, but then realized that Vorden had already changed the ball's shape into a harmless stick and handed it back to Peter. Oh, Quinn, you're back, Vorden said, smiling. Did you have fun? Yeah, a little bit, Quinn said. Vorden here said you got a girlfriend, Peter quickly added. What? Quinn said. You know, that girl that was with us at the testing that time. Quinn started to think about what his relationship with Layla was. Layla did almost everything Quinn asked without answers. It was almost a master and servant relationship, but if Quinn said that, they would definitely get the wrong idea. We're just acquaintances. I was talking about how she got to use her weapon and discussing what classes to take. I'm going to join the beast weapons class. Finally, after finishing their breakfast, it was time for their combat classes. Quinn had chosen the beast weapons class after thinking long and hard. Quinn was known as a no-ability user, so it was really the only option for him. Otherwise, he would have to just sit back at the back of the other classes and do nothing. The weapon class was popular among those that had an ability that was able to enhance it. Those who could slightly see the future or had telekinesis ability like Layla would attend these classes, but Quinn wanted to find a weapon that would suit him and his fighting style. Standing at the back of the hall was a bald-headed man wearing leather armor and had a long katana blade by his side. But the katana blade hilt was jagged and rough, and the back of the blade the same. It looked like it had been forged from an animal that was not of this planet. The man remained silent at the back with his eyes closed. Quinn could only assume the man was their teacher, being the oldest one in the room. The room slowly started to fill up with students, and that's when Layla had entered and spotted Quinn. She immediately came over to him and started chatting. Unlike when Vorden had spoken to Quinn, the other students didn't really pay attention because Layla herself was also considered weak. This class is a lot more popular than I thought. Yeah, I wonder what weapon I should pick. Well, I already have mine, Layla said, pointing to her bow on her back. A lot of the students in the room already had weapons of their own. Quinn and a couple of others were the only ones who didn't have anything on them. Just then, while Quinn was busy staring at the wall, the other students started to get rowdy as someone entered the weapons hall. What is she doing here? Isn't she an elemental user? Why would she be here? Who cares? Maybe we can spare with her, and if we beat her, we can ask her on a date. As Quinn turned around to see who the girl was everyone was talking about, it turns out he had already met her before. It was Erin Healy, the ice ability user. I wonder why she decided to go to this class instead of the elemental class. Attention! Everyone froze and turned to look at the old man. My name is Leo, and I will be your teacher for today. Leo then pulled out his katana blade from his sheath and pointed it out in front of him. Your first task will be to pick your weapon. You must think carefully. Your weapon is your lifeline. When your ability won't work, the only thing you can rely on is your own skills. Now go and choose one from the wall around you. Quinn looked at the wall and saw all sorts of things. Axes, short swords, spiked clubs, whips, scythes. There was so much to choose from. Quinn was really having a hard time. Quinn then walked up to one of the random swords on the wall and used his inspect skill. Corge sword, tier basic beast weapon, strength +3, agility -2. The sword is incompatible with the skill blood swipe. After searching around the room for a while, Quinn came across a weapon that stood out from the rest. Black-horned gauntlets, basic tier beast weapon, strength 3, agility 0, stamina 0, defense 2. This weapon is compatible with the skill blood swipe. When used with the gauntlets, blood swipe will have an increase of 5% in power. The gauntlets were black in color and had little tiny horns going up the forearm. The fingertips were pointed and bladed at the ends. It made them look almost like some type of dragon claw. What a strange choice, young boy. It's not many people's first choice. With a weapon like this, you have to have no fear and get in close to your enemy. But that is also the reason it is sturdier than most and can be used as a form of defense. Quinn had already experienced fighting more than most kids. He was used to using his fists. With his blood swipe skill as well, he didn't always have to get up right close to his opponent. Do you mind if I try it? Quinn asked. Go ahead, Leo said, as he left to check up on other students selecting weapons. Basic horn gauntlets equipped, strength 12, agility 12, stamina 11, defense 2. Once everyone had finished picking out their weapon, Leo called everyone to gather around the center ring. For your first lesson, I want to see what you've got. We will have a sparring match, 2 people at a time. We will all watch the match and commentate on what can be improved on. Now, are there any volunteers? In an instant, Erin was the first to put her hand up. Without even waiting for Leo to say anything, she headed for the arena in the middle and stood inside. She held a single silver longsword that shined bright. Oh, I also forgot to add, abilities will be banned during today's sparring sessions, Leo added. It is important that you know how to use your weapon first. Only then can you truly bring out the full potential of the weapon with your ability. After saying those words, students had raised their hands like a rocket. They all wanted to get the chance to beat the famous Ice Queen. I think you chose the wrong club. Your ice abilities will be useless here. Erin didn't reply, though, and simply took her stance, waiting for her opponent to come forward first. The man charged in, wielding his large axe above his head. When he swung it down, Erin spun her body to the side, avoiding the blow, and at the same time slashed at the back of the man's legs, causing him to stumble. She then placed her blade towards the man's neck, inches away from his throat. I give up! Everything had happened in an instant, and the room was suddenly silenced. They all knew Erin was strong, but it was unexpected of her to be so skillful with the blade. Most ability users, if they had a strong ability like Erin, would rely on that power and not bother learning a weapon. But it was clear to everyone she had some practice. The next fight that had caught Leo's attention was the fight with Layla. Even though Layla could no longer use her telekinesis, with her bow, she was able to shoot ahead and predict where her opponent would turn. The next pair, Quinn Talon and Brandon Richardson to the arena. Now it was Quinn's turn. With the weapons hall being indoors, Quinn was able to use his full stats and his opponent was unable to use his ability. Finally, for once, Quinn was in a situation where he didn't feel weaker than the person he was going up against. As Quinn walked up to the stage, he noticed that Brandon, his opponent's indicator, showed that he was at the power level of 3. But here in the arena, where abilities weren't allowed, Quinn had a body stronger than most. His speed was faster than most. Brandon held a large spear in hand, which had great reach. The end was sharp, with a single curved blade at the end. Opponent power level 3. Bonus EXP will be rewarded. It seemed like Quinn's day was only getting better. Begin! Brandon immediately charged in with his spear, while Quinn stood there and took a fighting stance with both of his hands held out in front of him. When Brandon was within striking distance, he thrust his spear forward. But to Quinn, who had 12 points in agility, it was easy for him to dodge. He avoided the spear strike and ducked down. Then, before Brandon could pull the spear back, Quinn went and grabbed the spear with his hand. What the hell? Brandon said as he tried pulling the spear back. Let go! While holding the spear with one hand, Quinn opened up his other hand and swung out his fist like a claw as hard as he could at the spear. Then, a few moments later, the spear had been sliced in half. "What the? My weapon, it's faulty!" Brandon complained, but Leo did nothing to step in. Quinn rushed forward, and before Brandon could do anything, Quinn punched him hard in the stomach. Brandon's feet lifted off the ground, and it looked like his body was about to fly away. "Inspect. Brandon Richardson, ability elemental, HP 5 of 15, blood type O positive." Quinn grabbed him and pulled him back down, and at the same time kneed him in the face, causing Brandon's nose to bleed and his head to be sent backwards. And finally, Brandon collapsed, lying there on the ground. "Winner, Quinn Talon," Leo said. "Opponent has been defeated, 50 EXP rewarded. First time higher power level bonus, 50 EXP rewarded. 220 of 200 EXP. Congratulations, you are now level 3. 20 of 400 EXP. 1 attribute point awarded. New skill, Blood Bank, unlocked." After defeating Brandon, Quinn had received multiple messages and had even leveled up. The bonus reward for defeating a level 3 user was higher than when he defeated a level 2 user. Before leaving, Quinn looked at Brandon, who was lying on the floor. Blood was dripping from his nose, and Quinn just had one thought. What a waste. It was a shame Quinn wasn't able to store or drink Brandon's blood. After all, everyone was watching. But if he did, he would have learnt what the O-type blood did as well. The two military men again appeared out of thin air and took Brandon away to the doctor's office. But before Quinn could leave the arena, a couple of boys shouted from the crowd. "That's not fair," a boy said. "Brandon obviously was using a faulty weapon." "Yeah, and what was with that anyway? That idiot decided to still attack him anyway after seeing his weapon break. He should be punished."
How will Quinn defend himself against the allegations of an unfair fight? Will Quinn's triumph over Brandon prove to be a blessing or a curse in the near future? Find out in the next episode.
Hey, it's Quinn. Want to be part of my story? Subscribe now and get ready for all the episodes of my vampire system coming soon on Pocket FM YouTube channel.